Let's talk about politics here, because at last night's final Conservative Party leadership hustings, Boris Johnson waved a smoked kipper above his head and promised that a post-Brexit Britain would end damaging regulatory overkill, as he put it, imposed by the European Union. Mr Johnson claimed that Brussels bureaucrats were insisting that each kipper must be accompanied by a plastic ice pillow, but the European Union has hit back. Well, first of all, let's have a listen to what Mr Johnson had to say last night.
I want you to consider this kipper. This kipper, which has been presented to me just now by the editor of a national newspaper, who received it from a kipper smoker in the Isle of Man, who is utterly furious because after decades of sending kippers like this through the post, he has had his costs massively increased by Brussels bureaucrats who have insisted that each kipper must be accompanied by a plastic ice pillow. Pointless, expensive, environmentally damaging health and safety.
So that was Boris Johnson with his kipper. And this afternoon, replying to a journalist's question about Mr Johnson's comments, we heard from a European Union Commission spokeswoman.
The case described by Mr Johnson falls outside the scope of the EU legislation, and it's purely a UK national competence. So I hope this is clear, and the rules must be checked with the national authorities. There are strict rules when it comes to fresh fish, but this kind of rules don't apply to processed fishery products. I'm talking about the temperature and the exact case that he was explaining.
Right, so that's the EU view. Let's talk to our reality check correspondent, Chris Morris, who's with me now. So we've heard from Boris Johnson, we've heard from the EU. Who's right, who's wrong?
Boris Johnson got it wrong, basically, and we've had that confirmed also by the UK Food Standards Agency. The rules which say that if you post a smoke kipper to a consumer and that has to be kept refrigerated in some way, that's entirely a UK rule. The EU doesn't regulate for that. So he got that wrong. The Isle of Man, of course, isn't actually part of the EU, not even part of the UK in actual fact, so EU rules don't apply to it. UK rules do when it's kipper smokers have to send their stuff into the UK market. But, you know, beyond that, I guess you can ask, does it matter? I mean, Boris Johnson got his photo with his kipper waving in the air on the front page of at least 3 national newspapers. And all the research suggests, when you look into sort of post-truth politics, as people call it, is that what people are going to remember is that image and the fact that he was railing against Brussels bureaucrats. The Tory faithful will not remember the fact that he actually got most of the facts wrong.
All right. Chris Morris, thank you very much indeed, Chris, from our reality check.